Hey, Rob with 3STRONG. I'm actually at a local park here. I noticed some kids were playing lacrosse, and it just made me think of the good old days when I was playing soccer and sports and all that stuff. And I had a regimented practice schedule. I'd show up, 3 to 5 times a week, maybe even 6 times a week when I was doing it competitively. And I just know that a lot of us out there on the world of Facebook we are beyond those college years, those high school years, those little kid years of where we had this regimented program. That made me think about how, if I gave you the task of, hey, let's train for soccer, what would you do? You practice soccer. If you said, hey, we're going to go play some basketball, what would you practice? Basketball. And it's fairly easy on what the solution might be, but now when we get out into the world, the real world, and we don't have these athletic challenges, training can become a little bit tedious. It becomes a little bit vague. We don't have clear answers because now what do we train for? And so that brings up the question, if life was a sport, how would you train for it? Well, that depends on the life that you want to lead. Granted, it's probably better to think about that than the life that you currently have, because that might be sitting on your butt in front of a computer, and I wouldn't want you to go to the gym and sit down and, practice typing on a keyboard so you can be the best typer in the world. You can sit down harder than anyone else, have the worst posture. No, we don't want that. We don't want that. We want to live healthy, active, energy filled lives, vigorous lives. And so thinking about this question, if life was a sport, how would you train for it? There are lots of activities that you can train for. Those might take the form of any one of those obstacle races, a half marathon, a marathon, picking up your kids, helping somebody move. There could be just a basic goal of I want to do more push-ups or pull-ups, or I want to strengthen my back. Let me give you a couple of examples of how, analyzing your life right now and what you want to do is really going to help you reach your goal. I work with a nurse. Hello, Erin. I love you. And what she has to do is transfer patients, from the bed to a wheelchair and, back and forth. She does a lot of heavy lifting in her job. And one of the things that we've been working on is her core strength, but also her ability to pick up. So something like a deadlift, reaching down, picking up a barbell, forcing her to stabilize her back and then use her legs. And she has actually noticed a difference in how she transfers her patients. For her, that is her life, that is her sport. So we need to train those movements that she does within that so-called sport of life. Another thing, there's a couple that I know that is going to do a hiking trip up in the mountains, and we live in an area where there are hills, but there aren't a lot of mountains, so I'm having them drag tires for miles with their backpacks on their backs. And this is something that I might not recommend for everyone, but for them, that is their goal. That is going to be their sport. That's what they choose to do in their life. So we're going to do things that are going to help them get better at that. With that being said, it's very good to start with that general strength training program like I presented in the video, picking the right moves where you have your basic squat, deadlift, upper body push, upper body pull, and then your core exercise. And have that as a foundation, but then when you think about what life you want to live, what are the movements involved in those activities that I want to do, then you can branch out and focus on that. But do that. Ask yourself that question. Okay, what is my sport? It might not be an organized sport or a very well-known sport, but it might be something as simple as, I want to play with my kids. I want to be able to live life and say yes to whatever anyone asks me. I want to be able to play basketball. I want to do that. And look at what the sport demands and then practice those things. Okay? Hopefully that gives you some answers. A lot of things to think about. See you tomorrow.